Retnick.
So here we go. We're bringing on Phil Iloki, Carleton Ravens star receiver, to the HESN Live local football show. How you doing, Phil?
I'm good. How are you, man? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good. I'm good. So my first memory of you is back in, I think it was Pee Wee, might have been Bantam, first year Bantam for you when you're playing with the Nepean Redskins. And it was pretty obvious that you were the best receiver in the league back then. And now it's a real pleasure for us to see you doing so well at Carleton.
Thank you very much. I wouldn't say the best receiver. There was a guy named Curly Giddens Jr. who was pretty good as well, and Jordan Dupree. So we had a pretty stacked court receiver there in the region. So it was pretty fun competing week in and week out. But yeah, those were some of the best times of my life, man. Just playing football with your best friends, and it was awesome. I wouldn't trade that experience for the world.
For sure, man. So, some of the things that you did and some of the work that you put in to get to where you are, you obviously, I'm interested in knowing why you chose Carleton, why you decided to stay in Ottawa, and but I'm sure you had the ability to go really anywhere. Your track record spoke for itself. You had all of your OVFL success, you had your NCAFA success, and you chose Ottawa. How come?
I'm not gonna lie to you. The fact that I could kind of stay home and be with my family is something that I definitely don't regret. I had a chance to take some really cool visits to McMaster. Like I see the nice little jersey behind me.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to talk to some of the best coaches in the country and all that stuff, and it was great. But the fact that I was able for the first couple of years of Carleton's rebuild to kind of be in the stands as a fan was incredible, and to kind of watch those guys build, and the fact that I was able to connect with a lot of the guys on the team, Nathaniel Hamlin, Tunde Adeleke, all those local guys that I knew. It kind of made an easy transition. It's like, man, this is it's a natural fit. It's gonna be a smooth transition, and obviously, you sit down with Coach Samara and Coach JP, and those guys are just brilliant guys. And when they kind of lay down for you the platform and the schedule that they have for you moving forward, it's kind of hard to deny. Every coach that you meet with is going to tell you, they have the best program, they have the best academic support, they have the best training staff, all that stuff. But if you're not able to actually go in there and see for yourself, then you're really giving yourself a huge disadvantage. So, being that I was a local Ottawa guy, I had a chance to be in that Carleton locker room I had a chance to be in that Carleton locker room a couple of times, and I was able to visit facilities and kind of just fall in love with the place. It's the best university in the world. It's that small atmosphere, and yeah. And another thing is I couldn't do the Ottawa U downtown scene. That's not for me. I'm more of a what's that?
I always thought that I'd enjoy that, I never really visited, but like having the downtown scene so close. It'd be good for partying, that's for sure.
Also, enjoy it as well, but I'm kind of like a homebody, kind of just chill, relax, and the whole busing and downtown scene, it wouldn't work out for me. So
yeah.
Carleton fits in very well with me in that aspect.
Right. So what are you studying at Carleton, Phil?
I'm currently studying business law at Carleton.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you thinking about entering law in the field of law, becoming a lawyer maybe?
That's my plan right now. After I'm done my bachelor at Carleton, I'm planning to apply for law school after that, and then see what happens from there.
That's fantastic. There's another local lawyer that had a pretty successful career in the CFL too.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah. So and now obviously Climby's been on the TSN broadcast for a long time. He's a great broadcaster. But that's great. That's great. Now the other thing I noticed is that I think you've been pretty patient receiver at Carleton. This is year 3, right?
Yeah, year 3. Year 4, sorry.
Year 4, okay. And we definitely saw you starting to make an impact last year. But for a guy with your talent, I always thought, how have you managed the patience of year 1 and 2 not really being thrust into action like you were in year 3? Now you're the guy. So tell me about what that process was like for you when you got to Carleton, and now, in year 4 where you're really making a big impact.
I mean, to be honest with you, I definitely thought that I'd be a little more disappointed in myself. If I were to ask if I were to speak to myself, 4 years ago, and I said to myself, man, the first 2 years of your university career, you're going to be the fifth receiver, the sixth receiver, and it's going to take you a little while to transition. I would have been like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to a potential other school or whatever. But then I look back at it and I'm like, man, when I graduated from St. Joe's High School and I went to Carleton, I honestly was not a very good receiver. You get out of high school and you're athletic and you can do certain things, but in terms of being a full receiver, I'd be lying to you guys if I said, man, like I really came out of high school prepared. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I got to sit behind Nate Bahar, who's not too bad of a receiver. I got to sit behind Calvin Weinsberg, Wilson Birch, a bunch of those veterans, and kind of just sit, shut up, listen, learn the playbook, and kind of develop. And I think to be honest, I think it really kind of paid off in the long run. I think the past year and a half it's a true tribute to those guys that I sat behind. And I don't think we'd be having the kind of success that we're having now if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe dig into that. Like, what are the sort of things like downfield blocking? Maybe what you're doing when the play is away from you. What other kind of elements do you think that you're pretty raw at coming out of high school in your NACAFA career?
Well, I think coming out of high school, I think I was pretty fairly athletic guy. In terms of just going up, high pulling the ball. I'd give you some nice little run up to the catch action, all that kind of stuff. And the first day of training camp, when we got in there, we did some 101s, and I thought, I'd just be straight lining, running around guys, and it's like, man, this is a totally different game. It's a totally different
Right.
style of play. And then you encompass the whole learning the playbook and learning the coverages and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, I really have no idea what I'm doing. So my transformation, I think, kind of came in that first off season. And when the season kind of slows down, obviously the season's over with, and the coach kind of gets some more one-on-one time with you when you're able to kind of sit down and dissect the playbook and really figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it, which is the most important part. Because I feel like as a receiver, sometimes you're out there, you're running routes, and you don't really know the full concept of the play, which is fairly important. So you kind of get to ask those why questions, and I think that benefited me in the long run. We have a great receiver coach here at Carleton, Josh Jacoby, who's a legend in his own right. So the fact that I get to pick his brain every day is pretty cool. And I obviously have me and Nate talk weekly before every game. So I mean, we kind of shoot texts back and forth, and I'm sending him film, and he's correcting me and all that kind of stuff. So it's a fun supporting stuff we have here at Carleton.
Yeah, we talked to Hamlin, or sorry, we talked to yeah, we talked to Hamlin a few weeks ago, and he was saying that the boys from that graduating class, and even some of the younger guys like yourself, are still pretty tight. And they say that once a Raven, always a Raven type thing.
Yeah, no, that's the cool part about Carleton, man. And I mean, I'm sure it's similar in other places around the country, but the benefit here at Carleton is that the program is literally 6 years old. So your alumni, aren't the traditional alumni. You know what I mean? You're probably still partying with the with the alumni after games.
Actually, that actually doesn't. That's true everywhere. Actually, I've been back for a few homecoming games, and it doesn't matter how old you are. You're there partying. It's interesting the ability to dig into and be able to understand what JP and Samara are doing with the offense, understanding not only what plays being called and what you're trying to achieve with that play, but what plays are being called at what parts of the game and why, like what you're trying to lead the offense towards throughout the game. Those are kind of the deeper understanding and intelligence of the game that I guess you're talking about there too.
Absolutely.
And so you say you talked to Nate before the games. He's still a mentor. You guys share film. Would you say your goals have changed now being in year 4 as from what they were maybe when you entered as a rookie? What is the goal not only for this team this year, but for you personally?
it's gonna sound very cliche, but like my goal, to be honest, is to do whatever the hell I can to help this team like win at a big level. Because to be honest, it's I feel pressure myself just being a local guy. You know what I mean? And it's I feel pressure kind of being a local guy. So I went to high school, and a bunch of my friends go to Carleton, a bunch of my friends go to Ottawa U, a bunch of my friends kind of stayed around. It's kind of like, hey, yeah, you went to Carleton, right? That's the new program that started, right? So how you guys doing? And it'd be nice to kind of be like, yeah, man, we're making a deep dive in the playoff. So that's the kind of pressure that I'm putting on myself. You know what I mean? But in terms of in terms of the team goal, I mean, win every week, get better every week, and compete for Yates Cup and then a Vanier Cup later on. We had a pretty disappointing season last year in our expectations, and I think we're looking fairly well this year. Starting hot, 3-1 record, but I mean, at the end of the day, also it doesn't matter if you're not going to make a true deep run in the playoffs, and we're itching week by week to kind of get back there and kind of prove some people. So it's going to be interesting. But the goal always remains to get better week in and week out and compete for the big titles.
For sure. And now I think your numbers this week were pretty impressive. 6 for 67, and you guys have, who do you have here? You have U of T coming up. So having said that, that's got to be a game that you're expecting to win. They just lost to McMaster, although U of T is definitely a team that isn't the U of T of old days. They can win week to week, and where do you guys think you are in terms of being able to compete deep in the playoffs with some of the other OUA powerhouses? What will it take for you guys to be in a position to win a quarter and maybe a semifinal?
Well, first of all, great respect to U of T. They've done some great. They've done like a whole 360 down there with the new coach and other new coordinators and all that stuff. And they got some of the best facilities in the country. So they're definitely a program that's going to be on the rise. But from our perspective, we're looking for I don't know how you say this, but I guess like our pivotal win of the season. I think we've had a bunch of close calls this year, which we're not really too happy with. You know what I mean? We go to overtime 2 days ago with Queens, which was a good game. But if you were at the game and you watched the first half, you thought you probably could have left at halftime and not look back. But I think we were beating them.
What is that a result of?
That's a tricky question, but I think it's a result of us just not finishing games. And I think as a fourth-year player, I kind of take that on myself. It was, I don't know, 40 degrees out there, and I think I wasn't in the right mental state to finish that game. And so that kind of comes throughout your preparation, throughout the week, Monday to Friday, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're getting your food in you, make sure you're getting your lifts in you. And that's what it comes down to. But at the end of the day, it also comes down to mental toughness. Being able to open up that second half as a freshman game and kind of just restart. And if you look at our past 4 games, we lose to Western in overtime. And then we go to Windsor, and we have a sort of close game. And then we go to Waterloo, and that's another nail biter. So going to Toronto this weekend. I guess we're looking for like that convincing win. We want to show people that we're not always going to be giving nail biters. So that's right. That's the goal. And to answer your second question, I think we have the best, or if anything, as close to the best in terms of talent of anyone in the OUA. You bottom, we're a pretty impressive group. We have a second-year pivot in Michael Ruder, who's just shredding the league on fire right now, and he's doing his thing. We have potential CFL player in our right tackle, Noel McGreer. We have Kenny Onyeka, Defensive Player of the Year last year. So we're pretty explosive, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we don't combine all those talents and make it work. So I think we can hang in there with anyone. Our opening weekend at home, we take Western overtime, they win the Vanier. So if that's who we're looking at, the top dog, then I think we can hang in there with anyone for sure.
Right, but, and you mentioned Michael Ruda this week. He was 26 of 34, 303 yards, 2 TDs, no picks.
Uh-huh.
So if he can continue those types of numbers,
Yeah.
and obviously throwing to my man Phil a lot, you guys would be in good shape.
I
But
mean,
it
that's
it
what,
it also shows how important that Panda game is going to be because Ottawa's right there as well.
absolutely,
But I think that not only looking to the Panda how pivotal that will be, but also I think that win against Waterloo will come back to be a big one.
absolutely. So, I mean, you saw they just beat Laurier this weekend, which is a big one for that program. So if we take care of business this weekend in Toronto, and I think ROU has York this weekend, and they take care of business with them, we're going to be heading in that game 4-1, 4-1 apiece. So it's gonna make for some pretty interesting headlines.
It will.
ROU has a hell of a team down there, and a hell of a coach and Coach Breezy. Awesome genius football mind. So that game's always going to be a close one. Like I said last year, I remember I was talking to someone. I'm like, man, we can be 0-7. They can be an 0-7. No matter what, that game's going to be the best game on the OUA schedule because we just know each other so well. And at the end of the day, it's your friends and family and everyone that you love sitting in those seats watching you. So it adds a little fire to the game for sure. So if we
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So if we take care of business this weekend, they take care of business that weekend. It's going to make for some pretty interesting headlines for sure.
For sure, I agree with you. There's something about that matchup. It's the best experience in the U Sports across the country, hands
Absolutely.
down. And there's a lot of pride online. So whatever you guys are in the standings, that's always a good game. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And also, I think U of T's a big game. I think, like you
No,
said, you're looking for that decisive win, that statement win.
yeah.
This has a lot of implications. I mean, the OUA is so competitive now that you need to the games that you're supposed to win, you have to win. And yeah, this is a big one. So this is you're traveling to Toronto for this one.
Yeah, traveling to Toronto this Friday. But like you said, there's no game on the schedule that's too soft, right? I think we kind of took Waterloo last year a little for granted, and we were able to kind of, and we they put us on their highlight tape pretty quickly. So this I think the approach this year is kind of we don't take anyone for granted, man. We're playing for keeps this year, so we're not underseeing anyone, and we're treating every game like it's the most important game because at the end of the day it is. So we got to go.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna play a little interview with you here from back in the day.
Okay.
You look a lot younger. I gotta warn you here, but I want you to start thinking about as we watch these highlights of you back in the day, what some of your best memories were playing in the CAFA, growing up playing football. If you can think of a moment in a game or something like that, that'd be great. We'd love to hear about some of those moments.
Okay.
Uh, um, so let me just get this clip here, and I'm gonna turn the audio on so we can hear this interview. What are your expectations for the season?
Well, we're just gonna take the game. We're just gonna take it game by game. A cup. I think that's what everybody strives for. I think you can get there with what you just listed.
So there you go. The goals haven't changed. Win the championship.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow, that's crazy. I think that was our opening. I think that was week one
And
of.
this is the play here. This is when I was like, "Who is this kid?" And
Was,
that was week one against Cornwall down in Cornwall, and you lit it up, man. And I think that was your first year bantam.
yeah, first year Bantam.
And
We had an impressive roster that year, man.
yeah, you had Spinell at quarterback.
Yeah, we had John Lansana. There you see him running the
Yep.
rock. We had a good group of guys, man. And I mean, to answer your question about a couple memories, I mean, the fun part is probably the younger days. Like I always like my friends and family and my brothers. I guess kind of always like go back and forth with this. But it's like I think football was more fun definitely when you were a little younger. Obviously, it's still an awesome experience now playing with your buddies and stuff. But I think Tyke and Mosquito and somewhat Pee Wee was the best because at the end of the day it was just it wasn't as serious and it was kind of more as laid back. Of course, you want to go out there and you play with your friend or compete for a championship and all that stuff. But the fact that you were able to take three days out of the week, kind of ignore school for 2 hours and kind of just pretend to know what you're doing playing football. It was the best feeling in the world. I wouldn't trade that stuff for the world, man. I made some of my best friends playing with the Nepean Eagles. or formerly the Phoenix Redskins. Best time, man. I think if I pinpoint one memory, I think it'd be I don't know if you remember this, but I think you guys were at that game actually. It was that same year we beat Cumberland at Cumberland to go to the finals to play Myers, and we had a young running back named Dover Colley. He went for like 7 touchdowns or something, and that was one of the craziest games of my life. I don't even think I had a catch. I did.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I had. It was freezing. It was freezing that day, and I had the first touchdown of the day. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a good day. Like, you're feeling good about yourself. And I don't think I caught a ball for the rest of the day, but like the clock went down at the end of the game, and you're like, man, like you don't care because at the end of the day you're going to finals. It was the first time that a Bantam program was going to the finals, so it was just crazy, man. And it was a night game too, perfect atmosphere. That I think we're heavily underdog that game. And the fact that we were able to come out victorious was pretty cool. They had a special team that year, and the fact that we were able to beat them was pretty cool and advance to the finals. So that was probably my best memory, playing under the lights that cold fall day in Cumberland for sure.
We'll have to fish up that game, those highlights, because I remember that. I think Tyler shot that game, and it was a shootout. I remember that. I remember Dorber kind of arrived on the scene, and then he went on to do a couple more years of some great things there. And you had a few other players on that roster. Dan Porter, who's doing some things at McMaster now, and also Andrew Beatty, who had 7 solo tackles against. I think they played Guelph this week.
Yeah, no, we played them 2 weeks ago at Windsor, and he was playing. He was lined up right above me at boundary. He was giving me a hard time, so it was kind of it's cool seeing all those guys progress, man. I played with some of the coolest dudes, man, and he's a great example. Eddie Ekio, who's at Carleton, dominating the OUA. He was an All-Canadian this year, and I mean, from watching, he could have chose whatever he wanted to do athletically, and
for sure,
absolutely. So I see him every day. It's kind of cool. We kind of talk about these highlights and stuff sometimes. So it's fun to see where everybody landed and who's doing what and where.
Definitely, man. Well, I know, speaking on behalf of HESN and NCAFA, it's been great to be a part of your development, and we're really proud of you. I know everyone that's watching this interview right now. It's great to check in with you, man, and we hope you stick around the community and continue to do what you do, man.
Absolutely, and I want to give a big thanks to you guys, not only for having me today, but like I said, me and my brothers, we really appreciate what you guys have done for the football community here in Ottawa, man. You guys, I remember having some chats with you after the game, and like, man, this guy's crazy. What is this guy trying to do with this camera and these microphones? But you look back 5 years later, and here you guys are, man. It's a true testament to your hard work and your team, what you guys do, man. And you guys have really kind of put a huge spotlight on football here in Ottawa. So big thanks to you guys, man. Really appreciate your work, and I'm gonna keep pushing the brand forward and all that stuff. So thanks a lot, guys.
Hey, thanks, Phil. That means a lot to us. And so, speaking of your brother, what's the latest on Honor Roll?
You gotta you probably know more than me, but he's committed to Toronto early or late, I guess, in before the school. He committed to Toronto late in his grade 12 year or whatever, and then I think a couple weeks before training camp, I don't know if he got frozen feet or if he just, and he decided that he'd take the year off football, I guess, and he's currently enrolled at Ottawa U studying economics. So okay. I think he's kind of just reopening his recruiting and see where he goes from there. I know he was in our locker room a couple weeks ago on a visit, so
right.
Hopefully we'll be able to get another Iloki in the Carleton uniform, and we'll see what happens.
That'd be great, and you and your brother are really talented guys, so. Wherever he does play, it'll be fun to see him out there again. But I also know you guys are very serious students as well, and academically, you guys have always, put a lot of importance on that. So it's good to see that you're doing well and looking at a professional industry like being a lawyer. I know your brother was interested in med school when I talked to him a few years back.
Oh, I think yeah. I don't know. I guess he took a 1260 now, but
right.
Yeah, he's studying economics right now. So to be honest, I'm excited to see where he lands as well, because he's probably better than I was coming out of high school. So I'd be disappointed if he didn't if he wasn't on an OUA roster next fall, no matter where that was, I'm gonna be happy regardless because that's my guy. So
Right.
yeah.
So we got to wait to see where he lands, but I think that'll be exciting when we finally see what he decides to do. And good luck this week against Toronto. We'll be rooting for you guys, and looking forward to that Panda game.
Yeah, me too. Thanks a lot, Justin. We'll take it 1 week at a time, but it's coming sooner, closer than I expected. So
For sure.
it should be fun. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, you bet. Bye now.